Welcome back, beautiful people, to another episode of your favorite podcast, Right Beside You, where we do life right beside each other. I am Christina Nicole, and I am here with the lovely, beautiful, scrumptious Georgie.
What's happening?
What's going on?
Oh, just another beautiful day in Southern California. It is hot.
Woo! Yes, it is. How you doing?
I could really use a vacation right now.
Ugh. I feel you. I feel like I can do the same.
Yeah, if I could just be on a beach somewhere, sipping a umbrella drink out of a coconut or a pineapple.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
With my feet in the sand, toes in the water.
Ooh, kick off your shoes and relax your feet.
I don't know the words of that song. I'm sorry. Or else I'd sing with you.
So, if you could go anywhere in the world right now, this second, where would you go?
Mexico.
All right. Looks like we're going to Mexico. Let's go.
So, traveling. That's our topic of the day.
Let's do it. I miss traveling so much.
Amen. Amen. Just the freedom to get on a plane and go somewhere in the world, explore, not have to wear a mask, not have to wash your hands. I remember the good old days when we didn't even have to wash our hands.
When did you not wash your hands?
Oh, that's only me?
Oh, gosh.
I'm just playing, y'all. I did wash my hands, but I know people who didn't.
Yeah, the good old days. 2019, when we could just book a flight.
Way back when.
Back in the days.
When I was young, I'm not a kid anymore, but some days
I sit and wish I was a kid again. Back in the days when I was young, I'm not. Ooh! Yes. Take me back.
Yeah. We definitely have done our fair share of Mexico traveling. We've actually gotten to the point where Christina said we can't go to Mexico for a year. Joke's on her. Soon as the lockdown is lifted, we going back to Mexico.
I think I've had enough of the piñata drinks.
Our first trip going to Mexico was the big family trip with me. It was our first time going on a trip for a week together. How do you think that set the tone for our relationship and for traveling?
Our first trip was a cruise. And I remember thinking going into it, this could make or break our relationship because we never spent more than a weekend together.
Yeah, 2 days.
2-3 days. And to me, I was looking forward to it, but it also gave me a little anxiety because I said, all right, is he going to get tired of me? Am I going to get tired of him?
She did get tired of me.
Are we going to have fun? Because I always have fun when I travel alone because prior to you, for the most part, I did travel by myself everywhere.
So what was traveling by yourself like versus us traveling together?
Traveling alone was exciting, but a little scary just because when I went internationally by myself, I didn't know anyone. I wasn't familiar with the area. It forced me to talk to people sometimes that didn't even speak English. So when I went to Thailand by myself, I was fully immersed in a culture that I had never been immersed in, which I appreciated, But then at the same time, it was a little scary because there were sketchy moments where things could have went south really easily. And I do not necessarily recommend doing what I did.
No, 100% no.
And if my daughter did it, I would probably be opposed. Therefore, that's probably the reason why I didn't tell any of my family until I was on the plane. My mom actually dropped me off at LAX and she didn't know where I was going.
Ooh.
When she found out, that was a different story.
Yeah, I can't imagine she was happy to find out that you were traveling by yourself around the world to Thailand.
First to China, then to Thailand. Another time, I went to Japan prior to Guam, which I also traveled alone.
Shout out to the motherland.
Shout out to my family. Chee!
So, when we travel together now, and this is an adjustment for me too, we kind of have to meet in the middle as far as what we're going to do, where we're going to go, how we're going to do it, because we have two very different styles of vacation.
Ooh, we definitely do. What would you say your style is?
My style is an open bar, bottomless mimosas, some sand between my toes, and me and my little mankini, and I'm good. That's all I need.
Your little bikini Speedo?
Yeah, cheeks out.
Sun's out, buns out, baby.
Cheeks out for Harambe.
And my style is see everything and anything I can and don't sleep. Literally, I have an itinerary of the things that I want to do leading up to my trip. And I plan all of my days so that I can maximize the amount of time that I'm there. For instance, if I'm there for 5 days, every single day there is something that I want to do.
So how much of an adjustment was it for you that first trip where we were just on the cruise ship? There was only so much you could do, especially on the at-sea days where some days we played basketball, some days we played ping pong, every day we walked past the ice cream machine and the all-you-can-eat buffet and filled up my ice cream cone as tall as we could. I think our record was about a foot. Versus, like you said, a vacation where you have every minute of every day sort of planned out, and you know, at 7:15 I'm gonna ride an elephant. At 8:02 I'm gonna ride a flamingo. At 9:06 I'm gonna ride a toucan.
It's definitely a change of pace because I didn't realize how much I did need to relax on vacation, because when I came back from these trips by myself, I'd be so exhausted. I'd sleep on the plane the whole way back, and usually the next day I would have to get up and go to work, and I would just push through it. And when I traveled with you, we kind of just chilled in first gear.
Slow down.
Oh.
Slow down. Girl, let me vacation.
Yeah, we would just hang out on the beach, relax, take a lot of naps, which I love doing as well.
And then we had a little bit of activity when we started walking into a favela in Mazatlan.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know that you enjoy your sketchy aspect to your vacation. You want there to be a little bit of danger, so we walked into the hood in Mexico looking like total tourists. And that was definitely one of those things where I felt that we might have made the wrong choice, but I'm glad it worked out because we were able to hail down a taxi cab.
Yeah.
And get somewhere a little bit less sketchy.
I definitely love adventure. And when we would go zip lining or kayaking to an exotic island, that's what my ideal vacation consists of. And now that I've traveled with you, I have my very own bodyguard for free 99.
I hope you can outrun me.
So you would leave me behind?
Only if you can't outrun me.
Maybe I have to rethink everything. It was a part of my strategy.
Yeah, I mean, you could just, if you trip me, you get yourself a head start, you might be okay.
Wow.
I wouldn't leave you, though.
Remember that one time when we were kayaking to an exotic island and halfway through you got really tired and you kind of said, all right, let's go back. And I said, okay, you go back. I'm going to the island with the lone bar and grill where there aren't that many people. And you said, I'm not going to explain to your dad why I lost you in Mexico. So
100%. And the reason I wanted to go back was the seat on the kayak was rubbing a hole in my back. I still have scars and nightmares from that.
Believe what you want to believe, but okay. Well, I told you we should have prepared and you should have worked out a few times so
How does me working out stop the kayak
it builds your stamina.
So it builds my skin stamina. That's a new one to me. I was unaware of this concept of epidermal dexterity being increased by exercise. Yeah, I just threw in big words at you.
I know what epidermal is. I know what epidermis is because I work in a pathology lab.
Do you know what expeditiously is?
We need to expedite this conversation. So, in regards to our first cruise together, / our first major trip together, did you have any reservations or thoughts or feelings about me being with your entire family for the first time for 7 whole days?
For me, that was the time when we were going to see whether you could hang or not.
Did I hang?
I think you hung.
Were there any highlights of that trip in particular?
The highlight of that trip was just not having anywhere to be, not having any cell phone service, and being able to completely disconnect for the most part and enjoy each other's company. There was all you could eat grilled cheese, and that kayak trip out to that island was very enjoyable. Granted, my back had holes burned in it afterwards from the seat rubbing on me, but it was just a great moment because it was almost like we had a little piece of paradise to ourselves.
Yeah, there was no one else around. And when you're traveling outside of your home or your hometown, there's so much more to the world than your little bubble that you've been in for 18, 19, 20 years. And I would encourage everyone to explore the world because it is a beautiful, beautiful place.
What was the highlight of that trip for you?
Definitely playing basketball on the swaying ship.
Ooh, yes.
Because it added an element of difficulty.
And then my dad, he found out there was a basketball court on the ship. I really hope he's listening this week. And he sent out a text message saying, "Oh, there's a basketball court on the ship. I'm going to challenge you and Christina to a free throw contest." And what I told him was, bro, my money's on Christina. I told him that weeks before the trip.
Ooh.
And then the first day we were on the boat before we left shore.
Didn't he say, "Don't disrespect me" or something?
He did say that.
Ooh.
He said, "Don't disrespect me." I said, "All right, you'll see. You're going to learn today, player." And the first day that we were on the ship, He sent out a text message again saying, I found out there's a free throw contest tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. If you ain't there, it's because you're scared.
Ooh.
So we read that text message. We said, all right, bro, we'll be there. We'll pull up. It ain't no thing. The next day comes. We arrive at the poop deck. I don't know if that's what it's really called, but the basketball court was on the top deck. We show up. We're out in the middle of the ocean. It's beautiful. And who is on that court other than my father? Dressed head to toe. He's got his Tennessee State basketball jersey on. He has his headband, his sweatband, his high socks, his high top Adidas. He was laced up and he was ready to go.
He was practicing as if it was the NBA championship.
And as soon as we walked up, he said, oh, so y'all ain't scared. And I said, you know she's going to beat you, right, bro? He said, don't disrespect me like that. All right. The free throw contest started. First round, we all lost. Second round, I lost and I walked away because I'm not a free throw shooter. Let's be honest. Third round, it's just Christina and my dad. Christina hits. My dad misses. And then Christina keeps hitting. She keeps hitting until it's just her and somebody else. And then she knocked them out too. And she ended up walking away with a gold medal. So for the rest of the trip, anytime we walked into a room with my dad in, I held Christina's hand up, made her wear her gold medal, and announced that a champion was entering the room and that my father needed to make way. He's still salty about it to this day. Love you.
Yeah, you would literally say, free throw champ coming through. Free throw champ coming through. Move out the way. And I don't think he really liked that.
No, but he'll get over it. Maybe he won't. You have the medal. So, making the transition to more current, we try to do 1 to 2 big trips every year, and we also try to do smaller trips that are sometimes centered around snowboarding or hiking or whatever. Because it's important to get away, and it's important to disconnect sometimes, even if it's just for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, absolutely. We usually do birthday trips for each of us and anniversary trip, which is a big one for us. And usually we go back and forth and say, all right, where do you want to go? Where do we want to go?
Mexico.
Where do I want to go?
Mexico.
No.
Oh.
And then also we have to take into account the particular time of the year. What's the weather going to be like? You know, is it going to be monsoon weather? Is it going to be crazy snow, which we do want when we're in snowboarding season? For instance, when we went to Utah,
Pow pow.
It snowed for my birthday, and that was the most beautiful thing because I had never been in real actual snow that was falling and snowboarding simultaneously. So that was amazing. What was your favorite trip?
I think the Utah trip was definitely an all-timer because it was super special. It was your birthday. We got fresh snow on your birthday night. It was the first time you had seen snow. It was 6 or 7 inches of white, powdery goodness. I'm talking about snow, the icy type, not the other type. Get your mind out of the gutter.
No Miley Cyrus.
And it was just a really awesome experience, and it was different from what we normally do. There was no beach, although I was still able to find some umbrella drinks at the top of the mountain.
That's your goal every single trip.
Oh, yeah. It's not a vacation unless you drink out of a cup with an umbrella in it. That's vacation 101. When we plan these trips, it's usually we have to find a compromise. Sometimes it's you pick the last place we went, Mexico, George. So We're going to Hawaii this time.
Yes.
Or it's your birthday, so we'll do what you want to do. We'll go walk up Angel's Landing, but I'm not letting you get on the chains.
I'm so glad that you took me to Zion's National Park, despite your
apprehensiveness,
resistance, or hesitation for hiking up one of the most beautiful hikes in the park.
That view gave me swimming in the head.
Halfway through, I looked at your face and you looked at mine, and I knew you were thinking in your head, are we there yet? And I kept trying to encourage you and say, yes, we're almost there. And you'd look back at me and shake your head and say, I know we're not almost there, with an attitude.
Oh, 100%, because I don't like being lied to. It's a violation of my trust.
It's good exercise.
You know what? If you want me to hike, what you have to do is tell me we have to hike somewhere where there's a brewery at the top of the mountain.
Well, then they need to start putting breweries at the top of mountains.
Okay. I think we might have a business plan here. Fat man hike to beer.
Let's do it.
All right.
We've definitely been on a lot of amazing trips. Hawaii has definitely been one of my favorites. How did you like it?
That was an awesome one because initially I was trying to go back to Mexico, but you just told me, no, we're not doing Mexico again. We're doing something different, bro. Sorry. So we ended up in Hawaii, and it was another amazing trip. And this was one where it was more your style of trip because you had everything planned out from the time we got there. I figured, we're going to get there. I'm going to eat me a Loco Moco, check into the room. I'll take a nap, wake up, walk to the beach, find my umbrella drink. And you just said, no, this is what we're doing. We're going up to Haleakala, and we're going to watch the sunset. And then we're going to come back down. We're going to sleep for 4 hours. Then we're going to wake back up, watch the sunrise. After that, we're going to go to the zip line place. We're going to zip line. Then we have to go to the other side of the coast and see the surfers and the turtles. And it was very overwhelming, but at the same time, it was very rewarding because in 3 days, it was as if we saw the whole island.
Yes. Road to Hana was probably one of my favorite windy trips, even though I got car sick. At one point, I remember closing my eyes and listening to the nature, listening to the birds chirping and the waterfalls and the trees swaying and the wind hitting my face. I can almost feel as if I'm there right now. And I miss that.
Yeah. Hawaii is paradise. No, Hawaii is terrible. No, nobody wants to go to
Don't
Hawaii.
go there.
Don't go to Hawaii. No. It's terrible. You don't want it.
Remember that beach that you didn't like going to?
Oh, it was terrible. The sand was black and so fresh, and the air was just amazing, and the blue water I could see down to you don't want to go to Hawaii. Don't go to Hawaii.
I remember going to the beach and just sitting in the water, how warm it was, and the sugary soft sand in between my toes.
I think the hardest part of that trip was packing for it.
Who?
You.
Me?
So packing is always the hardest part of any trip for us.
Yes.
And it's because somebody wants to pack everything to be gone for 2 months, and it's like, baby, we're going to San Diego for the weekend. Baby, we're going to be in Hawaii for 3 days. Oh, but I need a dress, and I need something to eat dinner in, and I need this, and I need 8 bathing suits, and I need 12 suitcases. And I'm the type of person that is like, I think I can make these one pair of shorts work all week because they'll just be dirty. They won't be funky.
And I'm the type of person who says, I never know what outfit I will need. So it's hard to choose and to take the more minimalistic approach. How George packs, he just takes one shirt, one pair of shorts,
and 5 pairs of drawers.
Sometimes.
Because they're not dirty until you take them off.
And some socks. And usually I have to ask George to help me pack, and I'll lay all of the outfits that I want to bring on the bed, and I'll match it with the shirt, the shoes, or the sandals, and the pants, or the shorts, and I'll say, okay, this is everything. And it won't fit in my bag. I can't zip it. And usually he'll say, okay, do you really need to wear this? Do you really?
No.
Do you really need 20 shirts?
No. The answer is usually no. And packing is a 2 to 3 day affair, sometimes even for a 2 to 3 day trip. But we make it through there.
Yeah, that's the toughest part. Do you have any advice that you would give to someone who is thinking about taking their first trip or major international trip?
The biggest tip for me, and I got this one from my mom, is always have cash money on you if you can. Because when you're in another country, especially, you're not always going to have access to an ATM machine. And also, if you're traveling internationally, you should do your currency conversions before you go there, because a lot of times you'll get a better exchange rate at home, at a bank, or at a currency exchange center on this side than you will once you get there, because they've got you there. But here you have options to shop around, so they have to be a little bit more competitive with what they give you for currency exchange, especially if you're buying foreign currency. And when you're dealing with street vendors or people in other countries, a lot of times they'll try to beat you on the exchange rate.
Cash is king, baby.
Cash is king, but what they'll do is, if you have, say when we were in Mexico, the exchange rate can be anywhere from 20 pesos to $1 down to 18 pesos to $1. A lot of times when you're dealing with a street vendor, they'll tell you their price, but then they'll say, oh, it's 15 pesos to $1. And they're trying to give you 75 cents on $1. And that's something that you really have to watch out for, because you can end up spending a lot more money without realizing it than you might have otherwise done if you just converted your currency beforehand and gotten the better exchange rate. So that would be my traveling tip. What would your traveling tip be for someone who's traveling for the first time?
If you're planning on traveling internationally, you definitely need to take the time to get your passport in advance, because it might take a few months for the process to be official, and you won't be able to get there or come back. You might get stuck. So definitely get your passport, and then also saving money, because you don't want to skimp on hotels, or even if you want to enjoy an adventure or bring back souvenirs or just experience something that you never would be able to experience in the States. You definitely want to plan ahead and start saving money, $10 here, $20 here, in advance. And whatever that means to you, if your trip is projected to be $1,000 by yourself, or $2,000 to $3,000, that's a lot of money just to say, oh yeah, I'm going tomorrow.
Ball out.
Unless you got it like that, more respect to you. But if you don't, you may have to plan ahead and say, all right, look, I paid off all my bills, prioritize, I invested a little, and instead of buying that new cute shirt or a new pair of shorts or a new pair of shoes, we're going to put away this money for my travel expense fund. And that's what I did. I knew that instead of a new shirt or some jeans that cost $100 for no reason, I'm going to buy these jeans for $25 and then put the remainder that I would have spent on clothes that I just throw in the closet. I'm going to put that in a savings account for that particular travel fund. So that's what I would recommend.
I'm going to hit them with one more recommendation, and then we can wrap this thing up.
What you got?
The last recommendation I would have is when you're planning your trip ahead, and you should plan, even if your plan is just to sit on a beach and drink Coronas, you should plan ahead. And one of the big things in planning ahead is going international. You may or may not have cell phone service, and that is something that could be a deal breaker or a detriment to you, or it could be part of the adventure. I've traveled both ways, and I definitely prefer to have cell phone service just so that I can navigate, so that I can contact whoever I'm traveling with. If I need to call home, I can, and you're not totally out of the loop. It's great to disconnect, but it's also great to have the option to connect if you need to. And that's one of the big things for me that I would recommend, is just know what your options are before you leave.
Yes, that's a good one. So I think we're going to take it to the people and ask you guys, where have you traveled to? What has been your favorite place, country, even state if it's local, that you would definitely go back multiple times? For instance, Mexico, like George says. So we just want to hear where you like to travel to, and just let us know, because that may be the next place on the map that we would like to go when the world opens up again.
Right on. Well, thank you once again for listening to your favorite podcast, Right Beside You, where we do life right beside each other. Because at the end of the day, I'm not above you.
I'm not below you. I'm right beside you. Cheers.
Never miss an episode by subscribing on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.